What's the difference between compound exercises and isolation exercises? Now first we need to learn what the definitions of those words are. Compound exercises are exercises that work multiple muscle groups at the same time. For instance, a squat is a compound exercise that works the quadriceps, glutes and calves, also your hamstrings. You could also do compound exercises that combine two exercises into one movement to target even more muscles. For example, a lunge with a bicep curl. Now you're just wondering what's the other word, what's isolation? Isolation exercises are those used to tackle one specific muscle group or joint in isolation. While in reality, no exercise will only use one muscle group, isolation exercises specifically target one area. So from that we've just learned isolations are never entirely 100% isolative, but you are aiming to target one muscle group. So you're not really going to have much activation from other muscle groups, if really any. I'm going to give you a few exercises that are compound exercises and a few exercises that are isolation to give you an understanding what compound is and what isolation is. Let's say you wanted to do a pushing exercise and you're going to do, I don't know, a barbell bench press. It will train your chest, your shoulders and your triceps. 3 muscle groups, all in one exercise. Now if you're going to do isolation exercises, you would have to do 3 exercises to basically train what you did with one exercise, which is going to take more time, but there is pros to isolation. Let's say you wanted to train your chest, maybe you do a cable fly, which would basically predominantly train just the chest, a bit of assistant with the front delt, but predominantly train your chest. Let's say you wanted to train your delts, we could do like a front delt raise, which would train the front delt. And you wanted to train your tricep, you could do something like a skull crusher or a tricep kickback. I had to list 3 exercises to do what one exercise does. But there is reasons to do isolation exercises. Now you can use isolation exercises to improve on compound movements. So let's say you're doing barbell bench press and I've named you the 3 muscles it works. And you notice your chest is fine, your shoulders is fine, but you're having a problem with your triceps being too weak. Maybe in exercise your elbows are flaring out and that's going to put a lot more stress on your shoulders and that's not really safe. So you know that your triceps are weak. That's why you would do an isolation exercise. Isolation exercises are to specifically target a muscle group. So, by training your tricep, you effectively made that muscle group a bit stronger, which will help you with a compound movement. Also, another reason you might want to train isolation exercises, maybe you're competing for a physical competition, I don't know, IFBB Pro, something like that, and there's a specific muscle group that's lagging behind. Like for most men, it's calves, let's be honest. A squat is an amazing exercise to train your legs, and it's great to train the lower half of your body. But maybe it's not the best exercise to specifically train calves. One popular exercise most people do, which is an isolation exercise, is calf raises. They might do this on a Smith machine, they might do this on a machine, they might do this on a dumbbell. But the point is, they will target their calves specifically using an isolation exercise, whereas maybe doing a compound exercise to target your calves might not be the best thing. Isolation exercises, you can use it to strengthen muscles that are weak, grow a specific muscle that might be lagging, and there is a third reason which we're going to get onto. Now, going back to our compound movement, the barbell bench press. We already understand that you might need to do isolation exercises because our muscle group is lagging behind, might be weak, and that's what's causing maybe some sort of imbalance. Now there is another type of imbalance you can have, which could be like a body imbalance, where one side of your body is stronger than the other side. For instance, I'm right-handed. I write with my right hand. If I was going to carry something, I'll predominantly use my right hand. My right hand is basically the hand I'm going to use. So over time, if I don't use my left hand to carry stuff, that hand might start getting weaker. And this is why you need to do isolation exercises once again. Because when you're doing a compound movement, you're basically using both sides of your body together. And if there's one side that's stronger than the other side, that side will start taking majority of the weight, and the other side is going to be basically behind, and then you can build some bad imbalances which can cause some problems later on. So for instance, with the barbell bench press, let's say you're pressing and you get to a certain distance and you're struggling, and you might not realise there could be different reasons you're struggling, but let's say the reason you're struggling is the weight feels heavy. Maybe the weight only feels heavy because one arm is a lot lower than the other arm. So maybe you're pushing more with your right than your left, but to you it feels like the bar is parallel to the ground. But in reality, the bar isn't parallel and your right arm is doing most of the work and your left arm is just barely holding the bar and pushing upwards with the right arm. So what you could do to fix this problem is to do a dumbbell bench press, and now with a dumbbell bench press, both your arms are working together, but the stronger arm isn't going to help the weaker arm move. So that's another reason you might do isolation exercises. Now you got the dumbbells, now your weaker arm has to push the same, just like your stronger arm. But when you do an isolation exercise and you have a muscular imbalance, don't go to the point the stronger arm gives up, go to the point the weaker arm gives up. If your left arm says you can only do 8 reps, but your right arm says you can do 12, don't force the extra 4 and lose form. Just do what the weaker arm can do. The stronger arm will maintain its strength. It won't lose it, but will maintain its strength. It just won't get stronger. But in that time, you're letting your weaker arm catch up. So that's the third reason you will do isolation exercises. It can help fix muscular imbalances. Now, compound exercises, these are exercises that will train more than one muscle group. The reason you do compound exercises is to train multiple muscles with one exercise and to build overall strength. You're not really going to build strength through an isolation exercise. The way you build true strength is through doing compound exercises. So basically your barbell is going to become your best friend. With compound exercises, these are the exercises you'll be making your most strength gains. I'm going to list you a couple of compound exercises. Deadlift, squat, barbell bench press, overhead press, bent over rows. There's a few other great compound exercises, but I believe these are probably the best ones I've mentioned right now. By training those compound exercises, for instance the squat, if your squat is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, that means the muscles you're training while doing the squat, like your quads, your hamstring, your glutes, they're going to get stronger and stronger, which therefore will make your isolation exercises a bit easier. The best way for you guys to simply understand isolation and compound exercises is like a sandwich. The compound exercises are like the meat. It's like the main bit of the sandwich. This is why most people might do this towards the beginning of their workouts. The isolation exercises is everything else. It could be the filling, this could be the lettuce, whatever. Everything else in the sandwich. But the bread itself, what holds everything together, would be your warm-up, your mobility exercises, your stretching. That's what's going to keep it together. But the main part of the sandwich is the compound, the meat. Hopefully this answers your question. You need compound exercises, and isolation exercises can help. You don't need isolation exercises, but they can help, and I do strongly recommend you use them. But compound exercises really isn't a question. Compound exercises are one of the best type of exercises you can do.